Hey guys, it's me Josh. I'm going to teach you how to make macaroni island fudge today, but a quick little history update, or not update, but just a little briefing. It was by Newton Jerome Murdoch. You ever hear Murdoch fudge? That's where it comes from. And it started in 1887. His grandma cooked it for him. He's like, wow, other people would like this. So I've been making it since 3rd grade. Always trying to get the ladies, you know. Great starter. But I've cooked it for every single holiday and all that, so it's just a great thing to do. Alright, so what you're going to need here, come closer, videotaper, thank you. Alright, you're going to need milk, a half cup of butter, so just a stick of butter, that's what a half cup is. You're going to need some brown sugar, some regular sugar, you're going to need powdered sugar or confectioner's sugar, whatever you want to call it, cocoa, where is it? Vanilla, and some salt. And also you're going to want a mixer. You're gonna want another pan so you can put your fudge in there. You can shape it or you can just let it lay out flat. You want some spray for the pan. And you're gonna want a spatula to stir and also shape it. You're gonna want measuring cups to measure out all you need. All right, so they recommend a low, or not a low heat, but a medium heat for your oven. So like 7 through 5 basically is what you need. And we're gonna start putting the milk first. So we're gonna do half a cup of milk. Just pour that right in there. Take this, and now we're gonna put in the stick of butter. Just one whole stick. Also make sure you wash your hands, of course. Just grab a towel. And also dry out this thing that was used for our milk, for our sugar. Alright, we're going to do a half cup of the pure white sugar. Alright, dump that right in, maybe a little more. And now we're going to also do the brown sugar, a light brown sugar. Alright, so now we're going to do a half cup of the brown sugar, and it's going to take a while for it to come out. It's really sticky because of the molasses in there. That's where it comes from. Alright, we're going to dump that in. Alright, and so now we're going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So that's basically just 1, 2, 3, 4 grinds of the salt shaker. And now we have to wait for this to start boiling. Alright, so now that we're doing that, we are going to get this ready. So we're going to put a fine film of spray. We're going to spread it around so we can get the edges, because that's where it's going to stick the most when we're forming it. We're going to get that nice and coated. Now we can just throw that in here. And then now we just have to wait for it. And once it starts boiling, we're going to stir it for 6 minutes. Alright, so this hasn't started boiling yet, but for the sake of time, what I did is I measured out 2 cups of the powdered sugar, and then I did a half cup of the chocolate cocoa, and then I did 1 teaspoon of this in there, and this just goes into your mixing bowl. You're gonna need a separate bowl, and then grab your spatula here, get in there, get all that out, because this is what really gives fudge its shape. So alright, now we're just gonna wait for this to boil. Alright, so this is starting to boil. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna stir it constantly for 6 minutes. So right now it's 8:43, and we gotta do it till 8:49. So you just gotta keep stirring. I know it's gonna be a long process, but this is what it does is it sets up the milk and the butter so then it can harden up. That's what the boiling does, and it caramelizes the sugar and the brown sugar together, which gives I was just thinking about a quick tip. You do not want to double up on your recipe, and doing that just creates a whole havoc. It doesn't set up so the fudge stays nice and loopy, and it doesn't set up and get hard so you can't cut it. So just never double up. I've learned the hard way. I've done multiple recipes. I'm like, oh, this does not look good. And then so that's my tip for you guys. Alright, so it has now been 6 minutes. So you're gonna take it off heat here. Go over here. Now we're gonna dump it into our confectioner's sugar and then our cocoa and vanilla. I'm gonna try to get as much of this out of here as possible. And then make sure you turn off the stove. Okay. Now we are going to mix it. I'm gonna start off at a nice low pace so we can mix everything together here. What they say is that you're gonna want a nice, thick mixture here, so you gotta get everything in here. And as you can see, I mean, already it's starting to thicken up. Not everything's mixed in there, so it's just gonna get even thicker also as it cools down. You're gonna want to scrape the sides to get everything in there. And set this down. Alright, and then right now it's really hitting the thickening point, so you're gonna want to crank it up a little. You see all these little globules in here, and then going a little higher speed will break them up. So you're just gonna keep going like that. Just gonna get these a little cleaned off a little. All right, as you can see, it's still warm, so that's why it's moving so freely. But that's how you want it, so you can pour it in here. So we're gonna scrape the sides into this. Make sure it's buttered. And just scrape it down into the bowl and then into the pan. And you can see how it's still a little warm. That's because we did cook it a little longer. That's okay. Just make sure it's not too long, and make sure you're constantly stirring it in the pan. All right, so now that we got everything in here, since it's nice and buttered, we can actually move this over and start forming it. Like if you've ever been to like a Mackinac Island fudge company or anywhere that makes fudge, you can see how they always have it like on the table. It's a nice marble table. That's how they shape it. What they do is they're dispersing the heat onto the counter so you can shape it and cool it down. In a pan like this and on a counter at home, it's gonna take a little while longer to form this. It usually takes me like 5 minutes, maybe even more, depends on how the temperature is outside. So like in the winter, it'll take me 5 minutes, but like in the dead of winter, the dead of summer would be like 10 minutes. So it just depends on what the temperature is inside and also outside. So you're just gonna, you can come over here, as you can see, as I'm just teasing it up and keeping it from moving very far. It's a process, but I mean, in the end, that's gonna be great. It's gonna be nice and thick and creamy for you guys. All right, so I've been playing with this for a while to keep it to cool down, and now at this point, I can start pulling the edges over to tuck it in so that it stays nice and firm. Also, what you need, it's optional, you can add, when you're mixing that or whenever, you can add nuts, you can add marshmallows, you can add anything that won't dissolve really easily. So I know some people like to do peanut butter, and they can do peanut butter in yours, which is really good. I usually do marshmallows. Some people even like the sweet and salty, so what they'll do is they'll add pretzels to it. It's very, very versatile. You can do whatever you want with it. So now that we're done with that, you're gonna wanna cool it in your refrigerator for 20 minutes until it hardens up, and then you're gonna wanna cut it. You can cut it whatever way you want. Right, so now that that's in the refrigerator, I'm gonna do a little quick recap with you guys. So basically all your tools you're gonna need is you're gonna need a saucepan, so you can put all your liquids in there. You're gonna want a mixer, some measuring cups, a spatula. Now your ingredients is half a cup of cocoa. This is for your pan that we just put in there. Half a cup of milk, half a cup of this brown sugar, half a cup of white granulated sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, 2 cups of powdered sugar, and then 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, which I said is basically just 4 spins of that. And then you want this. You want your liquid, your sugar, you want your brown sugar, and you're gonna want your buttered milk on a medium heat, which is about 6 on here. And then you're gonna wait for that. Once it starts boiling, that's when you start stirring it for that 6-minute period. And when that's done, you're gonna come over here, and that's when you're gonna start using your mixer and mixing that in. I did it for about 3 minutes. I skipped that part, so you won't be able to see it. But I did that for 3 minutes, and once that hardens up and gets nice and thick, remember we're gonna pour that into that pan, or not pan, but like the, yeah, pan basically. And then that's when we start shaping it. And then once it gets nice and hard where it doesn't really move at all, you can pull the edges over and you put that in the refrigerator for 20 minutes and you can cut it whatever way you like. All right, thank you very much. That's how you make fudge.